Hello everybody and welcome to another Composr CMS development stream. And in today's stream we are going to be working on cookie consents. So we have a cookie consent notice, or plugin rather, that we're using within Composr CMS, but we're going to be replacing that with a different plugin today. And the reason being is because I've been made aware, not only through input from people on composr.app in the forum and in my email as well, but I've also personally discovered that there are numerous bugs in the plugin that we're currently using for cookie consent. And the original developers of the cookie consent that we're using don't really maintain the plugin anymore. So what we're going to do is we're going to strip it out of Composr and we're going to replace it with a different plugin that is still currently being maintained. So you can see the latest commit on GitHub for this cookie consent plugin that we're going to implement was 3 months ago. And we're going to be implementing cookie consent v3, which is written by Orestbida. So the first thing we need to do is strip out the old code for the cookie consent plugin. And the old one that we're using was made by Osako. Osako was purchased out by another company, and they're no longer maintaining the free and open source version of cookie consent because they want to capitalize on their main cookie privacy cookie platform. You know what I'm trying to say, hopefully. They're trying to capitalize on that because that's not a free service and they're trying to make money from it. So what we're going to do is we're going to strip this out. So require JavaScript cookie consent. So the first thing we need to do is trash that JavaScript. So here it is here. So this is the main Osako cookie consent plugin. I'm going to copy the first 2 lines of code here in the JavaScript because those are Composr CMS specific, and we're probably going to need to use those for the new cookie consent JavaScript. So let's go ahead and remove this file. I'll probably name it the same thing, but we'll see. Now what we're going to do next is go into the releases here. We're going to download 3.1.0. of the cookie consent plugin. Wow, that is a lot. That's a lot going on there. Hopefully we don't have to import all of this. Okay, so we have a distribution folder. Here we are. Alright, so we're probably going to need the UMD version, I would imagine. Considering that we are not using ESM in Composr. Just looking through real quick to confirm that is the case. I think it is, because we got some export statements here. And we want to be able to support older versions of JavaScript, so that's not going to do for us. So we're going to use cookie consent UMD, and we're going to copy that in to Composr. I'm going to go ahead and do that. We're going to create we're going to call it cookie consent as well, just like the previous name. We're going to paste it in. We're also going to repaste these two lines here because that's for the JavaScript minifier that we use in Composr. And save. So that's the first step. Now we're going to go back here to cookie consent. We're going to update this comment. Orestbida. And we're going to change the URL to probably this. Yep. Oh, this is a playground. We don't want the playground. Here we go. This is what we want. Put that in, just like so. And we're going to clear this out. So we're going to add some new code here shortly when we import the new cookie consent plugin, or once we basically get all of that set up. The next thing we're going to do is we need the CSS. So we're going to copy that into cookie consent.css. Now, here's where things get a little tricky. Our previous cookie consent plugin did not require a CSS file because it generated the CSS itself. That was pretty problematic on its own. So we need to create our own CSS file. Trying to find, I don't think we have any directives that we need to put at the top of the CSS file. So we're just going to create it and paste in the code from cookie consent. Now, do we have a required JavaScript? Do we have a required CSS that we can use? Let's see here. Yes, we do. Awesome. And it looks like it is an array. It is not an array. That's interesting. I wonder why we're using array val on that. Okay, well, we will leave it at that. Require in CSS for cookie consent. And then the next thing we need to do is we need to go to the documentation. All right. So, what we need to do, add the style sheet in the head section, which is what require CSS is going to be doing. Although I don't know if it's going to keep names or eval promise all map require CSS, which is here. There it is. Find CSS by name, and it appends to a child sheet, style sheet, get CSP nonce, wait for resources. I'm thinking it, I'm not entirely sure exactly how this is going to work. We're going to have to play around with it. All right, and we have a body content and then cookie consent config script. Does this create an object cookie consent on window? Gonna have to figure that out, because this documentation is written in ESM format, but we're using UMD. So I'm gonna have to check on this. I have to go probably to the bottom. It is set on, it's set on global, so not window, but global. Is that gonna be a problem? It's gonna be a global object, but we are sandboxing Composr. So I don't know if that's gonna be a problem or not. It should be on window. Function type of define AMD, define exports, type of global this, of self. It seems like it's global. Not so sure I trust that, but okay. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and I'm just going to copy this example code here and we'll work through it. Okay, so we need to set some categories here. We need to go to actually I may be able to figure this out. So our first category is essential. I'm using the same categories as we did before. Essential, personalization. So essential is going to be read-only, because that's like your session cookies and whatnot. Personalization is also going to be enabled by default, but it can be disabled. Then we have marketing, which is going to be disabled by default. Then we have analytics, which is going to be enabled by default because we need to hook this into the stat system of Composr at some point. And then we have uncategorized, which is also going to be enabled by default. Okay, so there are our categories. Now what we need to do is set up translations. And we have to figure this out. There's got to be a way to be able to determine CMS symbol data. We need to determine the current language that we're using. So we have a symbol data as JSON. Page zone member is yes, whole thing JSON. Lang, here it is. ECB lang, which is probably going to be like ENUS or something. Which I don't know if that's going to work with. I don't know if that's going to work with this plugin, having something like US at the end of the language string. But we'll see. User lang, which gets the lang cache, gets a default lang. We go here and we get. I'm just going through. Okay, so it's in all caps. Is that going to matter, or do we need? Do we need to use lowercase? Something else that we'll have to determine. Alright, going back here. Let's get this symbol, JSON, username, theme, lang. User lang, CMS user lang. That's what we're going to define here. Default, translations, key, CMS user lang. I don't know if we could do that. Yeah, we can't do that. We're gonna have to hack this. So we're going to break this down into components. Start with categories. Oh, wait. I'm thinking I'm thinking PHP. It's dot notation. Dot language. I guess you could possibly use. We might have to though. Yeah, we're gonna have to use the previous notation for this. The one that PHP style notation basically. Now is that a method? I don't think it's a method, I think it's a property. No, it is a method, okay. Oh, this one, okay, we could use two lowercase on here. I just now saw it, it's being used in what you see is what you get settings. Okay, we could do that. we need a translations property. And then we need to do translations key, and key is that's CMS, not CNS. And then put our translations in there. So we'll paste our object in there. Replace this whole thing with cookie consent options. Okay, so we got that broken up, and in theory that should hopefully work, since the key has to be based off of the language. The next thing we need to do is translations. Let's pin this, let's pin that. I don't think we need CSS right now. Alright, so we'll go to our lang files for Composr. And I can't remember which specific language string they are. Actually, if I search allow cookies, I should be able to find it. Oh, they're in global. Okay. We have cookie notice. Allow cookies, deny cookies. We're gonna extrapolate those. I'm actually gonna I might create a new language file here. Maybe. Now, here's where things get a little tricky. Can we require in a language from JavaScript? Because I don't think you can. We have required JavaScript, set cookie, read cookie, attach behaviors, detach behaviors, call flag, execute JS function call, CMS windows, Ajax requests, filters. Yeah, I don't think we can. So yeah, they are gonna have to remain in global. I don't like that, but it is what it is. Not very efficient. Our global file is already too long, and it's going to get even longer. After this. Alright, let's see, translations, title, we'll just redo these. Alright, cookie consent title. Is it utility format? Maybe we don't need utility format unless if we're actually passing in parameters. I don't think we do. Okay. And I just messed up. Now we have to go back to where cookie consent was in that file. Okay. So, the idea is we do that, and then we add our escape characters at the end there. Cookie model description. I wonder if it says what exactly that is. There's a language section here. Okay. Here we go. Consent model. Is that what we're working on now? Alright, title. I guess the default is lorem ipsum text. Okay. I'm assuming we pass in the name of the site somewhere in the JavaScript. So the name of the site uses cookies to ensure you get the best experience. We may modify that string a little bit later. So now we need utility format for this. Util.format, and the first part is the string. Second part is the parameters, if I recall correctly. Yeah. Okay, so what we need now is site name. Let's see if we can find that in here. Is that past it? Dev mode, JS on, mobile, force preview, status. We got page name, zone name, member, username, theme, zoning, country, key, site name. Here it is. Okay. Pass that in as a description. We have accept all. Alright. We have a reject all, but we're not going to call it reject all. We're going to do accept only necessary. Or accept essential. going to expand on that. It uses cookies to maintain preferences and to ensure you get the best experience. That may eventually turn into a util format if I have to include a link to the privacy policy on there, but hopefully there's an option for that somewhere in here on the module. We'll have to see as we progress further down in the options. Alright, then we have a show preferences. Alright, so I'm not going to use a long name like that. We're just going to say like manage settings or something like that. Short, sweet, and to the point. Let's see, what other translations do we have for this? Accept all, accept necessary, show preferences, description, close icon label. If specified, a big X button will be generated. We don't want that. We want members to be able to. We want them to choose a selection before proceeding. Revision message. We have to look at that. I'm curious if we should use that. Add a revision message. Okay. We could do revisions. I'll leave that for later though. Right now I just want to get this implemented, so we'll leave it for now. Oh, we do have we have a footer section. That's good. Cool. We could put in a link to the privacy policy. Now, do we have a language string named that? Rules confirmation mail has a reference to privacy policy. Which implies that it should exist, but I don't see it. Actually, it should exist. There's a link called privacy policy, so why isn't it showing up in my search? This is weird. I'm gonna assume for now that it exists. I don't know if it does, but okay, so the next question is, do we have like build URL or something? I'm trying to think here. Page URL, nope, that's the current page URL. Page keep search parameters, no. Has CSS, required JavaScript. Call block, load snippet. Maintain the keep sub stat event track. Place self audio link is icon. Execute JavaScript main CMS window. Magic key press. Browser matches. Ajax request. Protect URL parameter. Filter URL encode. Filter URL. I don't see a utility for building a CMS URL. Let's see here. Wouldn't it be dumb, would it? Let's see. Let me see if I can find, what was it? Escape URL parameters or something like that? Protect URL parameter. Maybe if I do a search for protect URL parameter, I could kind of trace. Let's get theme base URL. So you could execute. Okay. I see what we're doing. These are snippets. Template editor load. Okay. Let's just do. Okay, so let's do something like that. So we go back here. Footer link, we're going to change this. We're going to put base URL in here, except index.php page equals privacy policy. And that hopefully will be good enough. And we don't need a target blank that because it's going to be on the same page, but we do need to add a title to it for accessibility purposes. Alright, and that's our footer. So, privacy policy, show preferences. Now let's move on to the preferences model. We'll create a language string called manage settings title, which is manage cookie settings. And we'll use that for the title of the preferences model. And then again, accept all. We use the same language string here. Use the essential only right there. And then, hey Vegeta-sama, how's it going? Welcome to the Composr CMS development stream. What we're doing here is we're replacing an old cookie consent JavaScript plugin in our content management system with a more updated one that is being maintained. Alright, save preferences. Cookie consent, and I guess we'll call it save settings. Accept settings. I'm guessing. Like, according to the example, they're using the language accept, just like they do with accepting all cookies and accepting essential cookies. So I'm assuming they're going for something similar for the UI, so that users aren't confused. I think we already have a language stream called cancel. I'm just going to use the word cancel for the closed model, because essentially that's what you're doing. Is if you close it, you're canceling your changes. Oh, we have cancel order. We don't have a global string called cancel. Okay, we're gonna have to create one. We'll call it cancel changes. Now for each section, I believe here we are. Specifying the name of a defined category, a toggle will be generated. Cookie table. HTML table where you can list to clarify the cookies. Ooh, that's interesting. I'm gonna have to keep that in mind for later. I'm not gonna do that now, but we could improve the UI. We already have the privacy policy listing out all of the cookies, as well as the appropriate categories, but we could make it even more intuitive by using what the plugin provides. So that is something we'll keep in mind for later. Okay, so we need to create a section for each category. We have title, description, linked category, cookie table. For the title, we're going to use the same name as the categories. We're going to basically treat them like code names. You know what? I'm going to put linked category directly under that. It'll make it easier for us. Description, cookie category, essential. These cookies are necessary for the software, which is going to be auto-translated into, maybe I should use website, not the software. The software would translate into the name of the software, which in this case would be Composr. And also thanks for the subscription too, Vegeta-sama. I appreciate that. Alright, so these cookies are necessary for the website to function. They include we'll keep it simple, such as your session ID for maintaining login. I don't know, that may be a little too wordy. These cookies are necessary for the website to function, such as your session ID for maintaining login. Yeah, that's too wordy. These cookies are necessary for the website to function, such as keeping you logged in. We'll just leave it at that. Okay. Cut, print, move on. I think that's good. Okay, copy this entire object. And next on our list, personalization. These cookies remember various settings and preferences you make on the site. While not required, it is highly recommended to leave these enabled. We move on to the next section, marketing. These cookies are responsible for serving you targeted ads and recommending products or services. Next one, analytics. These cookies and scripts track various information for the site owners, such as your demographics and behavior. And site behavior. And of course we're using UK language by default, even though I'm in the US. We have a setting called Yeehaw. That's literally what it's called, and you enable it and it auto translates the spelling into US English when you have it enabled. And finally, uncategorized. These cookies do not belong in the other specified cookies, and they track things like let me reword it. These cookies operate similarly to essential ones. Site functionality, but are not essential. Providing site functionality. These cookies operate similarly to essential ones, providing site functionality, but are not essential. Okay. We have all of those set up. And I think that's it for that. We're not done yet though. We still have a few more things to do. So let's go back to getting started here. We created our configuration, but now we need callbacks. On first consent, here's where it gets a little tricky. It says that it passes in an object, or the parameter passed in is an object that contains multiple keys, and the key that you want is cookie. Alright, I need to see an example here. It just says do something. But I need to see the structure of that parameter. Change categories includes. Okay. I don't want these. I want to see what this is. So that's not helpful. Cookie consent dot accepted service. Cookie consent dot accepted. Oh, okay. Maybe we could use cookie consent dot accepted category. Actually, you know what we're gonna do? We're gonna create something called cookie consent callback. Find it before running. No, I won't be able to. Never mind. I'll have to define it in here. There. Cookie consent callback equals function. We'll just call it data for the parameter. Okay. Actually, you know what? Let's not deal with assigning these to a variable. We don't need to do that. Let's just create an inline array. If you're wondering why I'm not using arrow functions, that is because our JavaScript linter does not support arrow functions. It's very strict. Actually, this needs to be an if condition. Or does it need to be an if condition? Maybe, yeah, because we have to do set cookie a different way, depending on whether or not it's accepted. Okay, cookie name, cookie consent, and then we add the category name. Cookie value will be allow. We're kind of going off of the a similar format as to how the previous library did it. Cookie category, which would be essential. No, category. Number of days, 365. And if we did not accept it, we have to put deny as our value. That is our callback. And we also need this for on, let's see, we have on first consent. We need it for on change. I don't think we need it for on consent. That's going to be too exact. That's going to be too had a brain fart there. I'm not sure what I was saying. It's going to be too aggressive. Alright, so what we're going to do, since it's been about an hour since I started streaming, we're going to go ahead and take a break, and when I come back, within about maybe 7 minutes or so, we will continue the implementation of this new plugin. So everybody stick around. We'll be back around maybe 9:18 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. Stick around.
Your data could be sold. Just one little click. Do you accept your data could be sold? Terms and conditions you don't read. One little click, that's all I need. Will you accept? Will you accept? Please say yes. Please say yes. Will you accept? Will you accept? Click accept. Click here. Just say yes to my friend request. Will you swipe right? Am I your type? Your credit card number, your date of birth, your mother's maiden name, your social security. I promise you it's safe. Just click. Will you accept? Will you accept? Please say yes. Please say yes. Will you accept? Will you accept? Click accept. We can't sell your data without your consent, and you can't give consent unless you click the button. Please just click the button. Will you accept? Will you accept? Please say yes. Please say yes. Will you accept? Will you accept? Click accept. Will you accept? Will you accept? Please say yes. Please say yes. Will you accept? Will you accept? Click accept.
Alright, welcome back to our Composr CMS development stream. And we are going to continue working on implementing our quote-unquote new cookie consent plugin by Orestbida into Composr CMS. Give me 1 second here. I was just finishing up a protein bar and didn't realize what time it was. Okay, so what we need to do next, we need to do a few little side maintenance things here real quick before we get on to testing here. We need to go into the third-party code script here. I think it's this Osako cookie consent, and we're going to change this to Orestbida cookie consent. So it's kind of helpful that alphabetically that this is pretty much the same position as before, and they call cookie consent one word in their project. We don't have a maintenance code name for this. we have to copy the the GitHub URL for this project. Is the project alive? Yes, it is. Is it bundled? Whoops. It is bundled. Resync regularly. The current date is the 5th of August, 2025. That's the time that we last synchronized this script. What version? 3.1.0 is the one that we synced. Minimum requirements. Does this have any minimum requirements? I think it does. But if I recall correctly, it just says supports modern browsers only, but they don't really clarify exactly what they mean by that. Unless maybe it's in the FAQ? Nope. Troubleshooting. No. I don't know. So we're just gonna leave that blank. Unit test, we don't have one. Health check, we don't have one. Notes. Resync regularly. Use the UMD dist JavaScript file. Next, we need to edit the thanks file. The file that we use to credit all of the libraries that we use. Front end code, we have Orestbida cookie consent. Let me check the license on this. It's a MIT license, okay. Same license as the old plugin. That makes it very easy for us. So we don't have to change anything else. Alright, let's go on to testing. We have our web server fired up. We're using Uniform Server 0 Portable WAMP server. And we have PHP 8.3 installed. 8.3.9 is what we're running. And we're using MariaDB 10.11. We have Composr CMS 11 Beta 8 installed on our test environment. And we're going to go ahead and get started with testing. We're going to open up developer tools here. Oh, would you look at that? We got a cookie consent message. Now the question is, will the callbacks work? So here's what I'm going to do. We got this. And before I click anything here, I want to erase all of the cookies and then refresh again. Because those are old cookies from the old plugin. Now, if we click accept all, does anything happen? We have a CC cookie, which has a list of the categories that have been accepted, but we don't have the other cookies. Okay, that's going to be a bit of an issue. Not too bad of an issue, but we could work with it. Alright, so what I'm going to do, we're going to get rid of cookie consent callback. We're not going to use callbacks. What we do know is that it saves a cookie. That's the important part. It doesn't matter what the cookie does or whatnot, as long as it saves a cookie and it has the accepted categories, that's all we're happy about. So now what we're going to do, we have to go through some of the JavaScript over here and edit the code that we have where we're checking categories. We have a category. Read cookie. Okay, so we're going to create a JavaScript function here. We need to create a new one. I'm going to call it CMS.accepted accepts cookie category. Cookie category is going to be string valid or type coercion, and then we're going to take the CC cookie, which, by the way, we need to edit read cookie if cookie name does not equal CC cookie. We have to add a bypass here and allow reading CC cookie without checking any particular. We basically have to treat it. We have to treat it as an essential cookie. That's what I'm trying to say here. All right, so we read in cookie consent. Now what we need to do is we need to decode this. Oh, wow, that is a big cookie. Is there a way, is it like url.parse or something? No, it won't be parse. Oh, wait, decode? There it is. Decode URI component. Maybe? Oh, whoops. We don't want that. We want a cookie consent, the variable. Let's see, gets the unencoded version of an encoded component of uniform resource identifier. It changes it to a string. Okay. Let's find out what this is. Before we figure out what our next step is going to be. It is JSON. Alright, that makes it easy. Is it JSON.parse? There it is. Have to remember my functions. JSON.parse, the decoded version of the URL. And now we have our cookie consent data. Cookie consent data consists of categories, essential, personalization, marketing, analytics, uncategorized. We have our consent ID, consent timestamp, actually, we need to do some checking here. If we have a read cookie, that does not exist. Let me see what we do for our other checks here. Looks like it would be blank if it doesn't exist. Then we have to return false. Oh, also this is going to be returns a Boolean parameter member of CMS parameter cookie category returns Boolean. Alright, so if we read CC cookie and we get no CC cookie, then that means we did not accept any cookies at all, so we're going to return false no matter what. Then we parse the cookie consent data, and then we get hopefully an object. If we don't get an object, we return false again. We're also going to do a check on the property categories. If it is undefined, we do not accept those cookies. And if we get to this point, we do accept. Oh, wait. That is not true. We have to do one more check. There is an array. The type of cookies does not. If it's. Okay, so cookie consent data categories. What was the JavaScript version of finding something in an array? Been a bit of time since I last used JavaScript. I'm mainly a PHP developer, so I'm gonna have to look this up here. JavaScript find something in an array. It's just array.find. Why didn't I thought my IDE is not coming up array.find. Not sure I trust that result. Not sure I trust my code editor either. Alright, let's see what we got here. Speech is stop find, check age. Check age would be the function which would pass in a logic. Is it? Don't we have a... Ooh, we could use index of. That's probably the most appropriate thing to do. Category greater than -1. I do remember, I'm sorry, in this case we're doing checks on false, so we would have to check for less than 0. In that case it would be false. We do know that -1 is what the return would be if it does not exist in the array. Okay, so now we in theory have our accepts cookie category function. So we could go back now to set cookie. If we do not accept the provided cookie category, then we do not set a cookie and we return. through, we go through, we go through. Here. Cookies have not been consented. We read in. Okay, cookie name is not. Then we check. We could just make this a double if statement. Run accepts cookie category on here as well. And if that passes, we return blank. And we could be done with that. In theory, that's what we need to do. But now we need to go into Composr and do the same thing. Allowed cookies. First, we need to check to make sure that that particular cookie for cookie is set, and if it's not, we return false. Then we need to take actually we already have the raw data. No, we don't. We need to parse it. URL to code. Actually, this is going to be CMS URL to code, I think. No, maybe not. Maybe we don't have a CMS URL to code, or maybe my IDE is just not showing it right now because of the syntax error. Nope. Okay, we don't have it. I think we have a CMS URL encode, but not a decode. Does this return false on a failure? Nope, it always returns a string. So we can immediately go to the next part of decoding it. And we want it to be an associative array. We also want to silence any errors, because we're just going to return false if it's false. Then we're also going to check if categories is set. And then this doesn't look. Am I missing a no, I'm not. Okay. I think I got the correct number of parentheses. Next, we need to do is that going to be an array? Yeah, that's going to be an array. We could just do an isArray check, possibly. It's a mixed value. Find whether a variable is in an array. Will that error if it doesn't exist? It might, so I'm gonna make it a separate check. Actually, I just remembered something. PHP has this thing where you can just do this. Within the is set, and it will do all of that logic for you. I completely forgot about that. Okay. So if the category is not set, then we assume that we have not consented. By this point, we have consented. Let me check the CMS set cookie function real quick. Okay. Let's see what we get. See what happens. Okay, does not work. We don't have an error, so we're gonna have to look, figure out what this, what the issue is here. The name is CC Cookie. Let's add some debugging stuff here. Let's see which one of these conditions is failing. I'm betting you it's this one. Oh, it's number 3 that's failing. So, cookie could set data categories. Category is not set. Let's see what it's picking up for cookie consent data categories. It's picking up essential personalization. Oh, I see the... Wait, do I see the problem? Yes, I see the problem. We're reading key when we should be reading value. Okay. We need a separate check here where we're using in array. There we go. Now we have a session cookie being established. We have hash cookies established. So that's good. Good, good, good. Let's clear our cookies. Let's only accept essential. We have only essential listed in our categories. It looks like that is the case. Just wanted to make sure that it is behaving as I expect it to. Clear once more. Let's see what managed settings looks like. I don't see the privacy policy in the footer though. So let's try and figure out why the privacy policy link isn't in the footer. theory, it should be, because we have this. But I did see that there was a new line in the example. Oops. I'm gonna try this just out of curiosity and see what happens. I wonder if it's because this language string doesn't exist. I see privacy, but not privacy policy. I'm going to temporarily replace it with the hard-coded word privacy policy and see if we get the link. We do. Okay, so that was the issue. So my guess is we just have privacy, the word, but not privacy policy. Does privacy policy even exist as a page? No, we called that just plain old privacy as well. Interesting, okay. Okay, we have to fix the syntax. And yep, we got our site name there too. Localhost uses cookies to maintain purposes and ensure you get the best experience. And let's see, yep, wow, our cookie consent has not been consented. Session is in the URL. So we got that. So we got the primary system incorporated now, which is good. So now we can move on to some knickknacks. So what we want to do next is add a button of some sort where you can customize your settings. Because unlike the previous unlike the previous cookie consent plugin, the old one that we're getting rid of, this one does not have a tab at the bottom of the screen that allows you to instantly click to customize your cookie settings. So we're going to put a button probably within the privacy policy for you to be able to do that. I do remember seeing something about that. I think it was under was it under UI customizations? No. Consent logging. Oh, this could have been helpful. This is what I this is what I wanted to begin with, but it's all right. Oh, here we go. I think maybe this is what we want. Block manager script tag services using callbacks and events. UI customization, color schemes. Oh, we already read this one. Callbacks and events. Where was it? I saw something at some point where you can add an attribute, not one of these, but you can add an attribute to a button to trigger. Oh, here we go. Okay. So let's figure this out, shall we? What I'm gonna do here is go to support tickets. I think this is like support ticket screen or something like that. We're gonna grab a template. Support tickets screen, and there should be a button for starting a new support ticket down here. There is. We're gonna copy this and we're gonna go to Oh, but do I want to put it in the main privacy policy block? Or do I want to put it on the page? Ideally, it should... this is going to be difficult. So this is what generates the default privacy policy, and the default privacy policy has different sections, including one for the cookies. Ideally, what we would do is we would put the button around where the cookies section is, but the problem is, in order to do that, we would have to go within the code for the block. But the issue is, this is just a placeholder basically, and there may be some people who will want their own privacy policy instead of using the block. But if they don't use the block, then they're not going to get the button for you to be able to customize your cookie consent settings. Maybe what we could do is create a staff note block. I think it's called staff note. If you decide not to use the main privacy policy auto block, you must include a button which will allow users to edit their cookie settings. Example. And then that will trigger the show consent model. And we need that language string. What was that language string that we created? Gonna have to pin this. It was manage cookie settings, this language string. Cookie consent manage, oh, that's an href. Huh? Oh, add ticket URL. What does it say here? Data, oh, it's a data CC. It's not a class. What am I thinking? Get rid of the href model, put data CC. Actually, this should be a straight up button. I don't know if this styling is going to work on a straight up button. It may just be for A tags, but we'll find out. Okay, so we need to figure out an icon to use. So we're going to go in Composr. Icons are located under Themes, Default, Images, Icons. And in this case, buttons. cancel. Is there an edit button somewhere? Probably not, because editing is kind of specific. Like you would be editing a specific thing. I wonder, let's see here. Let's go back to icons. Is there a privacy-based icon? There's a privacy policy icon. Okay. And this is located menu pages. Not ideal for a button. I may just use proceed. Just a generic one for now. And then we need that language string. Then we're going to copy this over into the block template itself. So that would be block main privacy policy auto right here. We're going to go to the cookie settings, start if non-empty cookies. We have our table here. Table ends here, and we're going to put our button there. And see how that looks. And there's our button. Now, does it work? We're going to close that and click that. It does not work. Well, that's a dang shame. I guess there's some sort of JavaScript magic happening. So maybe data CC is not going to work. Will it work if we go to the actual privacy page? It does. It does not work in here. Okay, I think I know why. It's because it's an overlay, and overlays run in iframes and things like that. I wonder if there's a console error. No, console doesn't do anything. Okay, we're gonna have to turn this into a link that doesn't open in an overlay. Rules really shouldn't be opening as an overlay either, to be honest. Login can open as an overlay. Okay. And then that button pops up. Nice. We can't disable essential. If we disable these and click accept settings, what do we get in our cookie? Make sure that our cookie updated. looks like it did. And if we accept uncategorized, there it is. All right. It looks like this is working as intended. So we're going to go ahead and commit our changes and call it a night. Replace Osako cookie consent with, oh, I forgot the name. Orestbida. Going to add a little to do there. This is something I'll probably do later, is adding there's a couple of options in the plugin here where you can customize the user interface. So what I'm thinking about doing is here, primary background, border color, hover background, that kind of thing. I'm going to extrapolate some of the theme colors and put them into the cookie consent window so that it kind of sort of matches the site. But that's something for another day. So we're going to go ahead and commit these changes. I forgot to commit that. That's alright. I'm just going to do that. That's probably the next thing I'm going to do. I'm going to do that off stream probably, but hope you all enjoyed this development stream of Composr CMS, and if you want to develop websites with Composr CMS, you can check out the software by going to the website on my t-shirt, composr.app. It is a free and open source software. You could download it and build websites with it. It complies with a lot of modern standards like WCAG. It is getting in more and more compliance with the GDPR and other online data protection legislations, Online Safety Act, all of that happy stuff. It is very highly customizable. It has lots of different features and plugins that all work interchangeably with each other, so you don't have to rely on a bunch of third-party plugins that don't get maintained anymore, like in other systems. And we could really also use some contributors, so if you have any knowledge of coding or have any other means that you want to contribute, whether that's financially or you want to get involved in the community, also feel free to check out the ecosystem page, composr.app/ecosystem.htm. There's a link in the chat there for you, and that'll give you several different ways that you can be a part of the Composr community and contribute to the project. With that being said, thank you everybody for tuning in. We'll see you next time.